Hi, I'm Candace, founder of Sufficient Grace Social Services, where our mission is to create awareness for the prevention of child molestation, child sexual abuse, and neglect, to help children to gain confidence and to find their voice, and also to help find healing from past sexual abuse and other childhood traumas through our faith in Jesus Christ. Today, I wanted to continue my conversation with you all about how to keep our children safe from child predators. I just had a side note I wanted to say that I've just recently been accepted into a master's degree program for social work in school social work, actually. So I'm very happy about that. The program is going to take 2 semesters and then I'll be done with my master's degree. But I hopefully, God willing, will continue my education with getting a doctorate degree in social work, specializing in trauma. And also, I also want to go on to get my license, LCSW, which is Licensed Clinical Social Work License. Um, and that's basically a license that I could receive after 3,000 hours as working as a social worker. I can receive that license after passing the exam to become a certified counselor. So that is something that I really am passionate about. I want to counsel people that have gone through childhood traumas and children that have gone through traumas and adults that had gone through trauma as a child. And also, I want to work with my church and Christian people in general and help them to overcome their past traumas. So I'm very excited about that. And so I just wanted to say that. And now we're going to go on to my conversation about how to keep children safe from child predators. And the last time, I gave a couple of tips on what a child predator was and some things that we can do to keep our children safe. This week, I want to focus more on um, the importance of us really being in tune with the children in our lives, us really being focused on our children, the children that we are in care of, their safety. And the first thing I wanted to say, and this is from an article that I found, and of course, I'm going to post all the articles that I use in the description box, but this is Kid Power. Their core principle is the safety and self esteem of a child is more important than anyone's embarrassment or inconvenience or offense. So, and I really like that because that means that when it comes to a child and when it comes to a child being sexually abused or any type of abuse, if we suspect it, it's more important to speak up for that child than to consider, oh, this person might, I might embarrass this person, or I might be embarrassed speaking up for this child, or I might offend this person, or, disrupt their life in some way. But consider that child and consider that child's life. Um, Going through something like that is very hard. It's very upsetting to a child. They don't know how to process it. And we as adults, we are there to keep children safe. So if we consider the feelings of an adult more than the feeling of a child, I think that that's inappropriate. And a lot of times we do. I watch like Steve Wilkos and different shows where a lot of people come on there to do lie detector tests about child abuse, and a lot of times family members want to crowd around and protect the predator. They want to point their finger at the accusers and say that they're wrong for disrupting the predators, the accusee's life, and I think that that's wrong. I think that any child's safety is more important than inconveniencing the life of a potential predator, and so we have to keep that in mind. Um, so a child's safety is more important than inconveniencing any adult. The next thing I want to talk about is make sure that you know what someone is doing with your kids. So, a lot of times, and I spoke on this a little bit the last time about how there people may come into our lives that are very helpful, that, and as single parents or as even families with both parents, they may be, let me say, busy, have very demanding jobs, or you know, a lot of kids, or they might be in situations where they're stressed out about things, and someone just comes out the blue and wants to step in and help to maybe pick up your children from school or keep them while you're at work. And you have to be very careful who you let help you with your children. So, they could potentially be a child predator. And child predators are such that they are very convenient. They make themselves very convenient. They make themselves available to watch your children, to be helpful, to be the ones to pick up the pieces or fit in where they can help out with your children. And you have to be very vigilant on people like that and check them out really well and know who these people are before you let them in your child's life. Um, the next thing is, it is a possibility that anyone could be an abuser. When it comes to children in your life, don't give anyone the benefit of the doubt. And that's very important. That kind of goes along with what I was just saying, to check out people very carefully that are in your child or in the children that you are taking care of life. It could be a teacher, it could be a coach, it could be someone at your church. Anybody, you have to really be vigilant, because anybody could be an abuser. A man, a woman, a older child in your child's life, an older cousin, anybody could be an abuser. Sometimes it's a parent that could be an abuser. And we have to look for the signs. We have to be able to see the signs. And if we suspect anything, any red flags at all, children acting out sexually, knowing things that are above their age bracket, like different types of sexual things that they shouldn't know for their age, different things like that are red flags. And it's up to us to, as adults and as protectors of children, to notice those red flags and to pick up on them and to ask questions and to really figure out if children in our lives are being abused. So, and another point I made is, nice people that care about children, that seem helpful, can be abusers too. And that goes along the lines of what I was just talking about. Helpful people that seem to just be there and just volunteer their services, volunteer to watch your children, volunteer to pick them up from school or to take them out when you have a lot to do, you have a lot on your plate. Volunteers to babysit, volunteers to take your children shopping or do whatever. Be very weary of or be very conscious of why these people are in your child's life and why they want to spend so much time with your child. And another thing is to listen to your children and teach them not to keep unsafe secrets. That's a very important thing. In my book, It's Okay to Tell, I talk about that. I talk about um, the fact that when children learn that they can't tell everything, that they are a tattletale, but it's okay for them to tell. And the person that is a perpetrator, or a person that is abusing a child, they may put them in situations where they feel like they can't tell anybody. They may tell them, scare them, or make them say that you're the reason, you're going to get in trouble if you tell. But that's why at early age, we have to instill in our children that it's not okay to keep secrets, unsafe secrets, secrets at all. Because I don't think many children can differentiate between a good secret and a bad secret. All secrets should be not kept, especially for young kids, teenagers. We should teach children not to keep secrets, plain and simple, because the more secretive a child is, even with things like, oh, I took a cookie out the kitchen, let me keep it a secret. Secrets are in a way lies, and we want to teach our children not to lie, to be honest about things, to be straightforward about things, so that if a situation happens in their life, they're able to talk about it. They feel like they are in a safe space where they can talk about it. And that brings me to the next point, which is be very clear about your life, secrets in their life, and the problems with keeping secrets, like touching and someone giving them gifts or favors, or giving them privileges or different things like that. Let them know that those things need to be talked about. They can't be kept secret. And when a child does tell you these things, don't judge them, don't act shocked, don't get mad. And even if it's not a situation where they're being sexually abused, but say for instance a child goes through something and they did wrong, they messed up, they went to a party and got drunk, or even at a younger age, let's say a kid um, took a piece of candy out their teacher's desk and they got in trouble for it at school, but they didn't want to tell you about it, and the teacher didn't tell you about it. Or the teacher told you about it, but you want the child to come to you and tell you about it themselves, and you ask them and they finally tell you about it. To react in anger, to react in a way where you make the child feel like they are unable to talk to you about things when they mess up, the next time when they're in a situation where they think they're going to get in trouble, they're probably not going to tell you because of your reaction the first time that happened. So we as parents, we as caregivers have to let the children know that the situation is wrong, but you're glad that they came to you, and don't necessarily punish them for doing wrong, especially if they're honest with you about it. Now, if they don't come to you about it and they lie about it, then and that's something I've always said to my children. When you're honest with me, you're not going to get in trouble. You're not going to get in trouble about things. It's when you lie to me about it, you keep lying to me about it, that's when you start to get in trouble. And we have to, as parents, instill that in our children, to keep an open dialogue and to not get upset when they come to us, even if they messed up in the situation. So, the last thing I wanted to talk about is getting kids into the habit of talking to you by asking supportive questions and being a good listener and not lecturing them. So, we as parents and caregivers, we have to work with our children. We have to encourage them to talk to us, especially when they're young. They talk to us about everything. But as they get older, they start to keep secrets and they start to want to keep things to themselves. But we as adults and caregivers and parents, we have to encourage our children to keep an open dialogue with us all the time. And like I said before, be supportive, ask supportive questions, be a good listener, and don't be judgmental. And even when they mess up, try not to lecture them too much about the situation. I mean, it's good to try to instill in them how not to do it again, but at the same time, if we push too much, then they're going to shut down as children. And we all have been there. We've all been young before and been in situations where we got in trouble for something. It was like, ugh, I'm keep it to myself next time, and that's not how we want our children to be. We want them to be able to say, you know what, I messed up, I'm sorry, and we want to be able to have an open dialogue with them even when they mess up. And so those are some of the things that I wanted to talk about today. As always, I like to end our conversations with, if you are a child or if you know of a child that is being or has been sexually abused or any type of abuse, I encourage you to please call your local law enforcement agency, 911, or 1-800-4-CHILD, which is our national child abuse hotline in the United States. And if you are an adult who has been sexually abused or any type of abuse as a child, or you going through any type of abuse as an adult, I encourage you to find someone to talk to about it, pray about it, ask the Lord to point you in the right direction on what to do to get help. And I have to say that I have been going through depression and different things for a long time, for the majority of my life, and the Lord has been encouraging me to reach out for help, and I'm glad that He is pushing me to reach out for help, because I finally feel like I'm getting the help that I need, and I'm grateful for it. So I encourage you to do the same thing. Pray and ask God. And sometimes we just need to ask for the courage to do what we need to do. And believe me, because when you're in depression and anxiety, it's hard for you to even take that first step. It is so hard. But God could give us that strength to take that first step. And with that, I want to say thank you for taking time to have this conversation with me. And as always, be blessed.